right. Okay. All right. Aloha, everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and Stand Together Hawaii.com, author of Great Maui Land Grab, What Caused the Maui Fire and Is Your Home Next? And wow, tons of fires happening still. I'm doing a video on that. But today, right now, I'm interviewing Mark Cook, and he is the founder of Hand Count Roadshow. And he's actually going across the country to help to reestablish integrity with our elections. And man, do they need it. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And it's great to be here. I haven't been in Hawaii since I was a little kid. And I remember slipping on the side of my grandma's bathtub and cracking my chin open. But that's the last memory I had of Hawaii. So far, this trip's been much better.
That'd be a ton better. So you're on Oahu,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's first talk about what is hand count radio. I'm sorry, roadshow. I keep wanting to call it radio, but hand count roadshow, and our elections. I mean, they are in dire need of help. So tell us a little bit about the background of how this got started.
Okay. Sure. So my background is I started writing software when I was a nerdy little kid about 10 years old. So instead of being rambunctious and creating havoc around town, not saying every kid does that, but I started writing software on my old Commodore 64. And before the internet existed, I had written quite a bit of software. And in fact, back in the bulletin board days, the CompuServe and Prodigy, America Online, I was writing software for those bulletin board systems. And I saw the advent of technology, the advent of the internet, all the way through, infancy to where we are now. I've watched the whole thing. I also started an IT company back then when I was 13 years old. I started my business, and I've had my business ever since. So I have helped people with their computers, clean out viruses or protect them from getting viruses, and networking them and helping them on the internet and with email and websites and servers, and either private individuals or small businesses. I've done it all. So I ended up getting asked shortly after the 2020 election if I'd go out to DC to help investigate the election and what happened, try to determine, was it actually manipulated? Was it stolen? Was it hacked? And I wanted to get to the bottom of it as well, because it's so hard for an average citizen to understand what really happened. Who do we know to trust? What information is true? What information is false? We just never know. And so I don't know if you can hear that. There's a jet flying over me right now, so I'll give it just a second here. Is my
Can't
noise
really hear it.
cancellation working?
Yeah, it's actually
Wow.
working.
All right.
Must be loud.
I'm impressed with this headset then. That's great. So I got asked to go out there, and I decided, you know what? I do want to know the truth. I figured it's going to be, way out of my league being out there. I'm just a computer guy that runs an IT company in Colorado, but I'm willing to learn. So I took a leap and I went out there, and I grew up in a little tiny mountain town. When I grew up, we had one stop sign. We had one hardware store, that type of small town. And so I didn't want to go out to DC. I don't do big cities. I don't like the city. But I went there because I wanted to know what the truth was. And I ended up as this guy from little mountain town in Colorado. I ended up walking through the doorway of Sidney Powell's war room out in DC a week after the 2020 election. Now, Sydney and her team had just been evacuated. So when I got there, they had just left, I think, the day before. But I walked through that same doorway, and I ended up working with a group of people that were still in there. And I worked with them for about a month and a half. I actually lived in this hotel that I was at for a month and a half out on the edge of DC in Arlington, Virginia, the Westin Hotel. I lived in a hotel for a month and a half. It's the craziest experience I've ever had. And we spent nearly every day trying to figure out where the fraud was in the election. It was, it, my life has never been the same since I stepped foot in that door, or I probably got on the airplane to go out there. Because what I saw when I was out there was a lot of the same things that everyone now in the country is starting to see for themselves for the first time. I saw it in November of 2020 because I was right in the middle of all this. So I had a very unique view into the depth of this problem that we have. And it's not only just an election issue, but it's a massive government corruption issue and a corruption in our intelligence. Yeah,
So tell us what are some of the things that you have found with the problem with the voting systems,
voting system.
and you're
Okay.
going around the country hand count roadshow, and people can go to handcountroadshow.com to learn more, because right now
.org.
you are
.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Handcountroadshow.org, because you're in Hawaii, and if you live in Hawaii, you guys can find him. He's right here until the 8th. Well, you're going to be from the 6th to the 8th. You're going to be here on Big Island. So, but you're going to be here through the 15th, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I'll pull up my whole schedule here so I can go over but so what the
And I
hand
can
count
actually,
roadshow is,
yeah, I'll
yeah,
go ahead and
is
talk about it, and I'll show people what's going on here.
perfect. So what I'm doing it is because what I have found in all this, as I've been investigating elections now for almost a little over 5 years at this point, and what I have found is this: we, the American people, have been lied to. We've been lied to for so many years about so many things. We've also been lied to very hardcore in 2020 and later about our safe, secure, gold standard elections. We've just been lied to, and we're finding out that they were all lies now. And there's a collusion between certain groups of people, certain agencies, etc., certain companies that are trying to lie to the American people about the state of our elections. So what I realize is, because we have all this media cancellation going on and we can't get the information out to the American people effectively, I decided, well, with the help of God, actually, because after trying to get the message out and not being able to, I asked God one night for some guidance, and I went to sleep and I had a very vivid dream. And that vivid dream, when I woke up, I remembered it very well, was traveling around in an RV giving election integrity presentations. Now, I'm sure some people may have more exciting dreams than I have, but that was a pretty exciting dream for me. Now, I couldn't figure out why I dreamt of that. I never owned an RV, but then I remembered that I asked God the night before to give me some guidance. So I
Hmm.
realized right away that was the guidance God gave me. I was supposed to get an RV. So I immediately went shopping that morning for RVs. I bought a trailer and then a truck about a month later. So I had the trailer sitting out in front of my house. I couldn't move it, but I could work on it and get it ready for the trip. Used trailer, of course. And I started on this journey across the mainland, uh, trying to not only help educate people, but I wanted to find out what was really going on inside their elections in their counties to help see if there's a pattern of manipulation there. Because a lot of times, if you're there in the county, the things that you seem might be odd, you might think are just pertaining to your county. It might even be explained to you that it's just an isolated thing that just happened this one time in this county. If you don't stand back from a 30,000-foot view and see that it's systemic pattern, the same thing happening in your county might be happening in 500 other counties across the country as well. And then it just doesn't look like an isolated experience. So not only did I want to help educate, but I wanted to investigate so I could have a better understanding of the truth and draw a real map of what's going on here. And
Hmm.
so what I found is, if I had to give you a 30,000-foot high level view of this whole situation, we have an incredibly complex, convoluted election ecosystem consisting of many different parts, many different agencies, organizations, third parties. It's also complex that the citizens don't understand it. Most of our election officials don't understand it. And it's
That's
taken control of our elections, taken elections away from the people and put the elections in the hands of others than the people. And elections belong to the people. The people rely on our elections in order to choose who we want to represent us and what laws we want to follow. So we must be in charge of our own elections in order for us to know that those elections are run correctly. We can't let the very organizations or agencies that are chosen by the elections be the ones that conduct the elections. You see how that could be a problem?
hmm
Because they might be biased.
just a
And
bit.
so that's the problem we have here. Elections belong to the people, but elections have been stolen from the people. So what my goal is my goal is to educate the people so they understand that the elections have actually been stolen from them, and what's been left in their place is an illusion that the citizens control it when they actually don't, and then provide them a path, simple steps to take in order to regain control of their elections themselves, because that is how we have true, real freedom, and not this illusion of freedom that we all have at this moment. And I think we're all starting to realize it might be a little bit of an illusion, and I'm tired of illusions. I want it real. So that's the high level view of what I'm doing.
I love it. And we have some comments. This is Lifestyle in Hawaii 808. Thank you so much for your comments here. She's saying that Hawaii elections are not certified. Here in Hawaii, I mean, I think the mafia runs these islands. I don't even think this is part of the United States, actually. So she says this has been happening for years. Absolutely.
Yeah.
More people are moving away every day, and then I always been rigged by the puppets. That's correct. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
What actions do you see? Well, first I want to ask you, just so people who are watching and Lifestyle in Hawaii 808 knows, where can they see you in person? And then I want an answer to what are your answers to this issue.
Okay, well, sounds good. I'll pull up my schedule here, and I will get it on the website. Right now, I have not been able to put all those events on the website yet because I have been going solid since, I mean, I wake up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning and I go nonstop. And if people have heard that I'm out here and I'm doing podcasts all over the place, and there's so much news coming out. There's so much truth that's coming out all over the nation now. A
Yep.
lot of people are
Yep.
asking for my input on it. So I literally jump from podcast to podcast, but I'll get it on there. So I'm going to pull up my schedule on the side here, and I'll tell you where I'm going to be and when, and I'll do the
So if
best
you're
I
on
can
the
with this.
islands right now, this is where
I'm
Mark
on the
Goodman.
islands. Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
please come. I want to talk to everyone I possibly can. And I've been on the inside of all this as just a normal citizen. So I want to bring truth to everyone here. What I have seen what I've so far that I've been here and the people that I've talked to, we're all suffering. Everyone in so many states are suffering, including Hawaii. There are really, it looks to be criminals that have taken over our election system and put themselves in place.
that's correct.
And if people shouldn't be just leaving Hawaii, this is a beautiful place. Do not retreat. We don't retreat from criminals. We're going
Yes.
to fix it. We're going to stay, and you're going to save your state of Hawaii and keep it for yourself, because I'll tell you what, the criminals have infiltrated like cancer. They've infiltrated everything everywhere. There's nowhere to run. So
That's right.
you've got
That's
to
right.
stand your ground, plant your feet. I'll do everything I can to help you with the guidance you need to take this back. But we're going to have to take it back from criminals. Now, not everyone's a criminal that's up there managing the elections, but there are a lot of confused people that need to be educated. And I think we can help educate them. And the truth is the truth. Literally, the scope of our elections is simple. Make sure that only eligible voters fill the dots out on the paper. Then we count the dots, and whoever has the most dots wins. There's your entire scope of elections. Why do we need other companies to do this for us? Why do we need certain individuals to do this for us? The citizens of Hawaii can count dots. Everyone can count dots. We got fingers, we got toes, and we know how to use calculators. And I don't use pebbles on the beach. I don't care. We can count our own dots, and we can let the government know who won, and we will put these people in the positions that we elect them to be. All right. So as I'm on the islands, I want to speak to every single person that can show up. And even if you disagree, or if you know someone that says there's no election fraud here, bring them. I want every viewpoint. I am just here to share truth. If someone disagrees with me, by all means, please come and let's talk. I'll share with you what I've learned. The truth is the truth. I'm here for the citizens' freedom, and I don't care what party anyone's at. I was a Democrat most of my life. I became a Republican a few years ago, but I've realized there's corruption in both parties. So I'm not a party person. I'm a freedom loving person, and I love America, and I love my fellow citizens, and I'm a policy based voter. So it has nothing to do with partisanship at all. Truth is the truth, and let's count the dots together. All right.
I
Get to my
actually feel
schedule.
like
Yeah,
they're both of the wings of the same bird is what I feel. But
mhm,
I also feel that we need to have election integrity
have to.
to take back our freedom, because it's our kuleana, it's our responsibility to take back our freedom from these corrupt criminals, which I love that you said that because that's so very true. So go
Yeah.
ahead. So where are you going to be? Where can people find you? And then let's talk more about the solutions. And I do have
Okay.
some more questions. And if you guys
Sounds good.
watching live, if you guys have a lot, because we do have some people watching live, post a question in the comments. I'd love to read them. I'm reading them as you post them. Lifestyle in Hawaii, and then Phoenix Rising. She says the corporate system it has to end now. The corporate system is worldwide. You are very correct.
Absolutely, it is. It is. So I'm looking, I've got some private meetings set up, so I'm just trying to filter the private meetings from the public. So I got a big one coming up here on let's see here, so Rick Hamada show. I'm gonna do that radio show at 8 a.m. On the morning. Oh, okay, that's Saturday. Okay, Friday though, 6 p.m. grassroots presentation. Here we go.
Oh, good.
Um,
Going across. Okay, good.
that is at the Veterans Center.
On
So
what island?
on Oahu,
On
Oahu.
Oahu.
Yes, so
Veteran
6
Center,
p.m.
Oahu, 6
Veteran
p.m.
Center, Oahu. So if you know anyone on Oahu, please tell them show up at the visitor center. I want to pack that place standing room only. I'm only going to be out in Hawaii for about 2 weeks. I'm going to be on Oahu for I think 4 or 5 days, and that's it. So I have an opportunity here, one opportunity to get every bit of knowledge I have out into the hands and minds of all the Hawaii citizens I possibly can to plant these seeds so you guys can take that, water those, and grow that into reclaiming your island and your state. So I want everyone there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and
All
you
right. So
guys
that's
also,
that one.
those of you who are watching live, you can go to standtogetherhawaii.com, standtogetherhawaii.com. I will post an email with where Mark is going to be. So you're going to get this on this live as well, but standtogetherhawaii.com, you'll get it in an email as well, so you can add it to your calendar if you miss it here.
All right. And the next one is going to be April 6th. And that is at, well, I don't think the time is right. It's showing up at 2 a.m. So I need to figure that out. Someone put it on there. Maybe they meant 2 p.m., but I'll figure it out. And that's going to be on Big Island. Is it
Waikoloa.
Waikoloa? Waikoloa.
Waikoloa.
Okay, thank you. I'm learning. I'm learning. So on Waikoloa, it's going to be at 68-1792. Is it Melia Street?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with
Okay,
Waikoloa. But
Melia,
okay.
Waikoloa, and I will find out what the name of it is. It says let's see, expecting I think up to this is it. Oh, there it is, the Waikoloa Village
That's
Association.
right. Okay,
Yep.
great. That's great. That's
All right,
great.
so we'll get
So
that one.
okay. And so, Mark, we do have some questions that I actually agree with. We have Tish Caravel. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And she says,
Okay.
you think the elections are real. So I agree with this. I agree with this because I do believe that the corporate bankers who have taken over the United States, turned it into a corporation, have selected people that we elect. So,
Yeah,
but I also feel that this is a part of our kuleana as a free people we have to start somewhere, you guys. We got to start somewhere taking back this country, and one of the best ways to start is through elections. So that's
it
true,
is. Yeah.
and I agree with what
Everything
you're saying,
centers
Tish, though.
around election. So elections, I mean, they're real, but the results are an illusion. That's the problem. It's set up to make it look very real, but they're set up in a way that they can be manipulated, and they can be manipulated either locally or they can be manipulated from the outside of your county or the outside of the state. Because with
Mhm.
mail-in ballots, it allows unfettered manipulation from the outside. So we just have a very porous election system that allows a multitude of different types of manipulation. I mean, I've even seen video of a clerk in another state in the middle of the night shredding ballots before she fed the others through the tabulator.
Oh my God, that
So, and she was running for reelection. So she's processing her own ballots by herself in the middle of the night. We happened to get her on video doing this.
wow,
She'd go
wow.
into a room. She'd come out of the room with a stack of ballots. She went over to the paper shredder. She shredded those ballots. Then she went and grabbed another stack and put them through the tabulator. And wouldn't you know, she won the election and she became clerk again. And then when the citizens caught her doing this on video, they went to the commissioners who kicked them out of the office. They went to the sheriff, and the sheriff said there's nothing he can do about it, and they had to go to the AG. They went to the attorney general of the state, and the attorney general told them, you have to go to the sheriff of your county. So the citizens got this while the criminals sat there and laughed it all off. Now, let me ask you this question. What do you think, who is the most powerful person in a county?
The sheriff.
You're wrong.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people think it's the sheriff, but it's not. The most powerful person in the county is those who run the election. Because whoever runs the election chooses who the sheriff is, with
Well, they're not supposed to
regardless
choose. It's
of what
supposed to
the
be the
citizens
people.
want. Right. But
Wow.
if that's the problem, is it like, what did Stalin say? What did Joseph Stalin say? Right? It doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the
Counts the
votes.
votes.
And if you have certain people that are really in charge of the election themselves, or this black box is counting them, or you have these mail-in ballots that can just show up with extras that might show up and you don't even know, that means other people can adjust and manipulate the results of your election. And this has been going on for decades and decades and decades. This
Yeah.
isn't a new problem. We're just living in a world that is seeing the symptoms of this problem that has festered this nation for decades. And that's why we're living in the world that we're living in. We might be living by laws that we didn't even vote for. We might be living with people representing us that we never voted for. That's the problem, because we have a system that's totally out of control of the citizens.
Yep.
That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, we have
So
some
then,
great. Go ahead.
yes,
Well, go.
I was
Let
going
me.
to
Let
say
me.
in Maui.
Okay, Maui, go for it, and then I have some comments that I want to
Okay.
share.
So Maui's going to be April 11th, and that's going to be at the Walter Cameron Center in Maui at 5 p.m. So anyone you know that's in Maui, make sure that they are there, and I'm happy to spend all the time necessary afterward. Literally, I'll spend hours with anyone that wants to talk, and I'll do everything I can. Even after I leave, I'll give everyone my phone number. You call me. I just want to help empower you in Hawaii with all the knowledge you need to fix this problem. And how we fix it is, I've got some simple steps on what we need to do to reclaim our elections, and I will go into all kinds of detail either later on here on this podcast, or I could, I'll definitely do it in each of my presentations as well.
Oh, I'd love for you to share that. I do have a few comments I want to share. The problem is the paid off media. Very true.
That's
I
a
mean,
problem. Yep.
this whole thing is corrupt. And then she asks, there's no politician on a local, state, federal level that runs things. That's the thing. And then there's a question here. What is the punishment for election fraud? But before you get into that, I very much appreciate this. I very much appreciate the fact that you're going around the country sharing this information, because it's helping wake people up. And right now the light is shining on the lies and the criminality of what has been going on with this country and the corruption. I love that. And it's so deep. It's so deep. But I do believe we got to start somewhere. And you doing this is absolutely amazing. So what is the punishment for election fraud?
Well, gosh, sometimes it's don't do that again.
Oh God. Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
it's just
here. That's
nothing,
here.
right? That's
Mhm.
the issue. Is there's no teeth in a lot of this legislation um, for committing election fraud. It's literally, you shall not do
Yeah.
this in some cases, but then there's no punishment if you do. But that's by design, right?
Correct.
Because the shall not is the smoke and the mirrors. It's the false sense of security that people have and say, well, there's a law against it. Well, when did criminals start following the law? Remember,
Yeah,
we are
that'd be never.
dealing with criminals. This is a
Yeah.
criminal empire that is engineered a way to usurp the elections of the United States of America. And they just didn't do the United States of America. This criminal empire, those at the very top, have been doing this to other countries for years. It's a game of theirs. They want power and control. And so they've manipulated the elections of other countries for all these decades. It's just the same tactics got turned on us. And
Mhm.
they've been doing us for a while. It just got to a point it was so obvious because they couldn't keep convincing the people that was really the result of the elections. And then we started looking after the 2020 election. And when we started looking, we started realizing, wait a minute, none of this stuff adds up. We started to audit this stuff, and it doesn't make sense. But we hadn't looked closely before. Most of us haven't. Now,
Mhm.
some people did, like the Collier brothers in the 90s, in the early 90s. If you ever heard of a book called Vote Scam, you need
Yeah.
to buy the book Vote Scam, VOTESCAM. And I can even pull it up on I'll pull it up on can I share screen?
Yeah, yeah, you should be able to share screen.
All right, so I'll share a screen here for you, and I'll just show you a couple things. So let's see here, window entire screen, and we'll see
Aloha,
if
Mark.
I
Mark
can do
just
this
joined
well.
us. How do we do an audit? He asked, sorry, how do we do an audit of the Hawaii election system?
All
That's
right,
a
we'll
good
get there. So
question.
let me show you this here first. So can you pull my screen up on the? I don't know if you can get all three on there. Can you do that?
Okay, okay, let's see here. Um,
If not, I can do it from my end if you want me to.
okay,
You
yeah,
want me to
go
do
for
that?
it. Mark Cook. Oh, wait, I
Okay,
see, I see. This is first time I'm
you
using
got it.
StreamYard. Okay,
All
go
right.
for it.
Good job. Good job. All right. So here's Vote Scam. So this book right here, you need to buy it. Okay. So go to Amazon, grab Vote Scam. And if you look right here, I think everyone can afford this. Let me zoom in on this for you.
It's
Do you
0.
see
All
the
right,
price
it's
right
free
there? Can
or
everyone
96
afford
cents.
$0? All right. I think everyone can afford $0. So go buy that. You can buy the Kindle for 0 or the paperback for 25. This book is written by the Collier brothers in the early 90s. And what happened was one of them decided to run for office, and they ran for office and they realized they got cheated, and they started investigating it, and they realized there was corruption that caused them to be cheated out of the election win. And they started investigating election fraud in the early 90s. They even went to AG Janet Reno with all this data that they had collected, and no one would take the story. The FBI ignored them, the media ignored them and silenced them. Everything we're experiencing now, this is Groundhog Day. These guys did this back in the early 90s. And so if you read this book, you'll actually see what happened. And I know not everyone loves books, but there's a video, an interview of James Collier before he passed away that I'm going to put on the Hand Count Roadshow website. And in fact, if you go, and I'm going to show you how to get there. So at handcountroadshow.org here, you go over to Get Educated and then down to Must Read. And when you click Must Read, it'll pull this screen up. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Vote Scam, the stealing of America. If you click on that, it will take you to the book, which is right here. And I will put this video of James Collier's interview on here. Give me give me about 3 hours, and I'll get this video link on here for you. Watch the video. It is the most fascinating thing ever because it is everything we are experiencing now that they already experienced in the 90s. So people really understand this is not just a problem we have right now. It is a
No,
systemic issue that's been plaguing our nation for a long time, and it's slowly eroding the fabric of our nation. And right now, we have one thread of that fabric left.
yeah,
That's the
it's
problem.
barely hanging on. Absolutely.
It is barely hanging on. So that's why I'm here in Hawaii. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've walked away from my life. I don't have a job. I have my income has dropped from down to about 10% of what I was making before. I can't even make my mortgage payment right now, but I'm doing this out of what's left in my savings because it is so critical to the future of our country. And not just, I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about because we've lived mostly pretty good lives here.
Hmm.
I don't have a lot of years left. If I'm lucky, I'll have 40. Maybe if I move to Hawaii, I might have 50 years left because I think there's a lot of people that live very healthy lives here and have lived into triple digits probably. But it's for our kids. It's for our
Hmm.
kids and our grandkids and the future of all generations. If we want our kids and grandkids to live with the happiness and the joy and the freedom that we had growing up, we have no choice but to reclaim our elections for their futures. Because if we don't do that, our children will not be able to fight this battle. This one thread we have left of our republic
That's
will
right.
be disintegrated in the next it'll be gone in 2 to 3 years if we do not step up and do something right now, this minute. And we don't create the change we need right now, this year, far before 26 elections,
Yeah.
we will lose that last thread. And if we lose that thread, our kids will not be able to battle this. It will
Yeah,
be generations before they have freedom again. Our kids will never even know what freedom was like. And
that's
then they
correct.
will erase the history so they don't even know the freedoms that we had. It will not even be a figment of their imagination. They'll just think the slavery that they have and live in their life is normal. They won't know what freedom is.
That's
That's
correct,
my
and
example.
they're actually already changing history. They're actually already
It-
taking down important names of the Black First American and different people, so that everybody's equal. So they don't want
Mhm.
people to remember. And how fast is
Right.
it to change a society? It takes one generation,
That's
because
all
they're
it does.
teaching
It's
the
one
children.
generation.
They're
Hmm.
teaching the children, and that's it. Because so
Yep.
I love that you're doing this. So, what would you say to auditing the Hawaii elections? Is that
Okay.
possible?
Well, is it possible? Yes, anything's possible, but you have to get data. And if certain people don't want to give you the data, it's really hard to audit without data. So if you have people in Hawaii that are refusing to provide you data, then it's the people, right? Because people with nothing to hide nothing. So there's one problem. Second, let's say they do give you data and the data doesn't match. Well, who's responsible for it not matching? What's wrong that allowed it to not match? And I'll tell you, there's probably no way to determine what the results of the past Hawaii elections actually are,
That's
because the
correct.
system is set up to, it's engineered specifically to make it unauditable. It's designed to be unauditable. It's designed to have this cloud of confusion in it. So you really can't figure out what the results are. Because if we can't figure out what the results are, we can't prove fraud. And if we can't prove fraud, then all the court cases get thrown out. That's the game.
Got to
They
prove
have
it.
engineered this. The whole thing's rigged. So what we can do is we should audit, because we need to highlight the fact that either certain people are withholding evidence. We need to highlight who those are, because those are not our friends. Those are our enemies. Then if they do give us evidence and that evidence does not match up, it fails the audit, then we need to highlight that it's failing the audit, because the people have to understand that there's a problem for them to be energized enough to fix the problem.
Hmm.
And then we have to get around to actually fixing the problem. How do we minimize the amount of manipulation within the elections, so much so that it can't overwhelm the real votes of the citizens of Hawaii? And from what I've seen, Hawaii has very low voter participation. Well, I
Hmm.
can tell you, here's the ingredients to manipulating an election. The easiest way to manipulate elections. Here's the ingredients.
Somebody just asked,
Early.
so I vote. I love it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well,
Perfect
I'm
timing.
gonna answer that. I'm
Okay.
answering that right now. Mail-in voting and early voting and low participation of real voters is the easiest way to manipulate an election. So if you guys don't vote, you are handing them a win. If you vote early, you are handing them a win. If you vote by mail, you are handing them a win. But if you show up in mass on election day in person, that makes it very difficult for them to manipulate it. And if you get involved and you become poll watchers and you're there watching everything and you audit everything and you demand transparency and accountability, then we will have the best chance of having an election that reflects the will of the people. So to answer the question of why vote, you have to vote to overwhelm the cheating. If you do not vote, you give them a win when they cheat. We can win. We just have to vote on election day in person. And then we take care of minimizing everything else we can that they do to manipulate the election. And we start the real votes, start overwhelming the ability to cheat. And then once we start getting some wins, we start replacing those people that have been roadblocks in
Hmm.
real election reform.
I love it. I love it. And it's our Kuleana, you guys. You're watching this live. You're going to be watching the recording as well. I'm going to put this out on standtogetherhawaii.com. If you have not joined standtogetherhawaii.com and you are on the islands, please join that. So I can let you know where Mark is going to be on the islands. And we need to step up and do our part. And part of the whole scam is to keep people running the rat race of ignoring politics. Ignore it. You don't have time for it. It's actually part of our what is ours to do right now, especially for our keiki, for the children.
Yeah,
So,
you
Mark,
have to.
yeah, we
Have to.
have
I'll
to.
tell you what, there are states I've traveled all across the mainland, and these people they're fighting for their states. And some of them are deserts. They're fighting for deserts. You guys have a gift from God that you live in. This state is the most beautiful place I have ever been. You must fight to keep it. You
Mhm.
must not give it to the criminals. You must keep it for yourselves and your future generations, your children and your grandchildren. It is your duty to preserve this beautiful state. And I'll do everything I can to help you do it while I'm here and after I leave.
Mark, you are a true American hero. And I say American, not US, United States Corporation, but actual American. So much mahalo. Any last words? And again, you guys go to handcountroadshow.org to learn more. You can please join them on that email list and join us at Stand Together Hawaii. And I will send out the information when Mark is here on Big Island and the other places, Oahu and Maui. He's only here on the islands until April 15th. But anything else you want to share? Lifestyle in Hawaii 808 says thank you. And mahalo so much for your comments, you guys. That was fun to read. This is the first time I'm doing a live on StreamYard, so this was
That's
fun.
cool. And do me a favor, share my phone number. If anyone wants to text me and wants to set up any meetings or help me do anything while I'm out here, please contact me. And I'm very open, so I'm just going to give you my phone number right
Sure.
now. So keep the death threats to a minimum, please. But here's my number: 303-990-2660.
Say it
So
again.
I'd love to hear from anyone. The number is 303-990-2660. Feel free. I'm here. I want to meet as many people from here as I can. And I love you all. And thank you so much for welcoming me into your state for the time I'll be here. And I will do everything I can to fight for and with you.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I always end all my podcasts with a prayer, an infinite putting out into the universe some good vibes. So we'll do that now. Infinite creator, great spirit of all things. You got this. We know that this is a game that we came to play, and our kuleana is to stand up to these demons and these criminals that have stolen our country. And we are doing that, great spirit. And we know that you've got our back, that the light of truth is here. It is unfolding. It is showing anybody who does not value human rights, anybody who does not value freedom, anybody who does not value private property, anybody who does not value the integrity of our elections, putting in good people. We now bind them with the light frequency of unconditional love, that they cannot do any more harm. They cannot harm our ohana, they cannot harm our elections, they cannot harm our aina, the land. We call that forth now, great spirit. We send Mark so much abundance on his journey, so much safety as he goes throughout the country. We know he is always protected. His family is always protected. Great Spirit, we call forth freedom back into this country. We call forth our unalienable rights, that we have the right to be free, the right to own property, the right to free elections, free and integrous elections. We call that forth now, Great Spirit. We know that it is done, and we know that legions and legions of angels back us up. This is why we came here. We are doing it. We trust in you, Great Spirit. We know that this world is becoming a better place. We call it forth now, and it is done. Mahalo so much,
Amen.
Mark, and I get to see you on Big Island when you come. So
I
again,
can't wait.
handcountroadshow.org. You guys join that. If you're across the country, join that and meet Mark Cook, who is making a difference on our aina in the country for election integrity. Much mahalo, Mark.
Back at you. Thank you all. See y'all soon.
Now I gotta see how to stop this. Okay, got it. It's stream. All right.